Good morning everyone, welcome back to Ilium Biology. So in this session today I am going to discuss about anomers and mutarotation. It's a request you to please go through the last videos of isomers in monosaccharides before watching out this video, because many basic concepts have already been taught there. So it would be easier for you to understand this video after watching those videos. Before starting with the anomers, I'll discuss about some basic organic chemistry concepts that would help us in understanding anomers better. Now, I would discuss here about a reaction between alcohol and aldehyde group or a ketone group. See, whenever an alcohol reacts with an aldehyde group, then in that case R2O group would combine with the carbon of the aldehyde. H group would react with the oxygen. That would lead to the formation of this compound which is called as hemiacetal. So whenever an alcohol reacts with an aldehyde, it forms a hemiacetal structure. Similarly, when an alcohol reacts with a ketone group, as you can very well appreciate, in this case this is a ketone, then the R2O would react with again the carbon part and H would react with the oxygen part. That forms a hemiketal structure. So whenever an alcohol reacts with a ketone, it forms a hemiketal, and an alcohol reacts with aldehyde, it forms a hemiacetal group. Now let's discuss about different projections of glucose. Now in your textbooks you must have came across many different forms of glucose, like straight chain structure, cyclic structure, but what are they and how are they differentiated? See, the glucose molecule, that is C6H12O6, not only glucose, monosaccharides can be projected in two basic ways. The first one is Fischer projection and the other one is Haworth projection. Fischer projection simply means straight projections, and Haworth projections are cyclic projections. Now Fischer projection, as you can very well appreciate this picture, this is a Fischer projection of glucose, and you must have seen this picture in many of your textbooks. This is called as the open form or open type of Fischer projection. Now aldehyde group, that is this group is the aldehyde group. This is the carbon number 1. Now in this case, first carbon which is having the aldehyde group and the fifth carbon is having the alcohol group. As I discussed initially, when alcohol reacts with the aldehyde group, it forms a hemiacetal structure. So this happens in glucose also. OH group present on the fifth carbon reacts with the aldehyde group, that forms a ring-like structure which is called as a hemiacetal ring structure, and this is again a different kind of projection for glucose. This ring is formed between carbon number 1 and carbon number 5. This is called as hemiacetal ring structure. Now let's discuss about Haworth projections. Haworth projections are basically the cyclic representations of glucose, and you can very well appreciate this type. This is called as the pyranose and the other one is called as furanose. Now the word pyranose and furanose have been derived from pyran and furan. See, this is pyran and this is furan. The difference is pyran has got total 6 members, that is 5 carbon plus 1 oxygen. You can appreciate it here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 carbon inside the ring and 1 oxygen. But in furan there are total 5 members, that means 4 carbon and 1 oxygen. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 carbon and 1 oxygen, total 5 members are there in furan. So this structure looks like pyran, so this becomes pyranose. O's word represents a sugar, and this structure resembles furan, so it is called as furanose. Now appreciate this, that in the case of a pyranose, if we talk about glucose, in the case of pyranose, 5 carbon are inside the ring and a single carbon is outside the ring. This is the pyranose form. And in case of furanose, 4 carbon are inside the ring. 1, 2, 3, 4 carbon are inside the ring and 2 carbon are outside the ring. So this is the basic difference of pyranose and furanose. Both of them are cyclic forms. Now how is actually glucose present in nature? In all biological systems, you would find glucose in a cyclic ring, structure in Haworth projection. So in biological systems, glucose exists in ring form. Now there are two basic hexose sugars that we always discuss. One is glucose and the other one is fructose. You would find glucose predominantly in pyranose form. Remember this, glucose is predominantly present in pyranose form and fructose is predominantly present in furanose form. Now how to remember that? That becomes confusing. How to remember that? So the easy mnemonic is triple F. Now what does triple F means? Triple F means furanose, fructose and 5 members. That is, fructose is predominantly present in furanose form and furanose have got 5 members, that is 4 carbon and 1 oxygen. On contrary, pyranose have got 6 members, 5 carbon and 1 oxygen. So these are different representations of glucose, different forms of glucose, different projections of glucose. Now let's remember two great scientists, Emil Fischer and Walter Haworth. These were the two who described Fischer projections and Haworth projections for monosaccharides. Emil Fischer was awarded with the Nobel Prize in 1902 for his contribution in developing Fischer projections and a very important mechanism in enzymes called as lock and key mechanisms. Both these discoveries have been attributed to Emil Fischer. So he received Nobel Prize in 1902. Walter Haworth, on the other side, received Nobel Prize in 1937 for his work on Haworth projections plus investigations on vitamin C. So both of them have contributed immensely in the field of chemistry and hence have been awarded with Nobel Prize. So you need to remember this. Now let's come to our topic, that is anomers of glucose. Now in the previous videos that we studied about different sorts of isomers, that is, we studied about epimers, we studied about enantiomers, optical isomers. Now all those isomers were related to the Fischer projection of glucose. Anomers are those isomers that are related with the Haworth projections of glucose. Now these are two different ways, these are two different anomers of glucose in the Haworth projection, but the difference lie only on the first carbon. You must have studied this in IUPAC of chemistry, how to number the carbon atoms. So by that formula, this is carbon number 1, this is second carbon, this is third, this is fourth, this is fifth and this is the sixth carbon. So the difference between these two figures, between these two projections is only on the first carbon, this carbon. In this case OH is on the lower side and in this case OH is on the upper side. So this is the basic difference and that makes them two different isomers of glucose, anomers of glucose. Now first of all, what is an anomeric carbon? What is an anomeric carbon? Now the anomeric carbon which is responsible for the formation of anomers is the one which is attached to the functional group. Now in this case, this is the functional group and it is attached to this carbon. So this is the carbon number, this is the anomeric carbon. So in this case, in the case of glucose, first carbon is the anomeric carbon. Now how to name them? See, we have to look at the anomeric carbon, the OH present on the anomeric carbon and the carbon which is outside the ring, that means this carbon. This is the carbon which is outside the ring. Now in this picture A, OH is on the opposite side to the CH2OH. See, if it becomes like this, then OH and CH2 are on different sides. So this is called as alpha D-glucopyranose, the alpha anomer. This is called as the alpha anomer. Now why alpha D-glucopyranose? Because this is glucose and the ring is pyran ring. So this is glucopyranose, alpha D-glucopyranose. Why it is alpha? Because OH on carbon number 1 is opposite side to CH2OH. In the second case, you can appreciate that OH is on the same side to CH2OH. So this becomes the beta anomer, the beta form of glucose. So this is beta D-glucopyranose. Getting my point? On the other side, if you are not getting this concept, then you can remember in this way that when OH is on the lower side and H is on the upper side, then this is alpha form. And similarly, if OH is on the upper side and H is on the lower side, then this is beta form. This is another way to remember the two different kinds of anomers of glucose. Now in this case, the first carbon is the anomeric carbon. C1 is the anomeric carbon. Now let's discuss about anomers of fructose. Now fructose, as I told you, is present in furan form. Fructose is present in furan form. That means 2 carbon are outside the ring and 4 carbon are inside the ring. This is the basic structure of fructose in furan form. See, according to the IUPAC, according to the numbering of carbon atoms, this would be the first carbon, the second carbon, third carbon, fourth carbon, fifth carbon, and this is the sixth carbon. Carbon number 1 and carbon number 6 are outside the ring, and second, third, fourth and fifth carbon are inside the ring. Now in this case, which would be the anomeric carbon? This is the anomeric carbon because it is attached to the functional group, which is O. So this is the anomeric carbon. So the difference would lie in the anomeric carbon. But in this case, C2 is the anomeric carbon. In the case of glucose, C1 was the anomeric carbon. In the case of fructose, C2 is the anomeric carbon, and these are two different anomers. Concept would be the same. You have to look at the OH and the CH2OH. Now both of them are on the opposite side, so it is the alpha form, that is alpha D fructofuranose. Fructofuranose, because this is furan ring. And similarly, OH is on the same side to CH2OH, so that becomes beta fructofuranose. See, this is very simple. This is very simple. You have to just go through the concepts, remember the basic concepts. In this case, C2 is the anomeric carbon. Now hexose sugars are of two types, aldose and ketose. So whenever we speak about the aldose sugar, then in every aldose sugar the first carbon is the anomeric carbon, and in every ketose sugar second carbon is the anomeric carbon. Remember this concept. Now this brings us to the second topic of the lecture, that is mutarotation. See, these are two different forms of two different anomers of glucopyranose. This is the alpha D glucopyranose. Whenever we make a fresh solution of glucose, then majority of the molecules of the glucose are present in alpha form, but the beta form of glucose is more stable. Listen to this carefully. Whenever we make a fresh solution of glucose, that is a freshly prepared glucose, then majority of the molecules are in the alpha form, but the more stable form is the beta form. So with time, majority of the molecules that were present in the alpha form would shift towards the beta form because that is more stable. So after keeping the solution for at least 12 to 18 hours, we notice a change in the form of the glucose. Now all the molecules would not turn into beta form. So an equilibrium mixture is always formed after 12 to 18 hours, and this is mutarotation, that is change of alpha form to beta form and beta form to alpha form. This is mutarotation, and after 12 to 18 hours we would find an equilibrium mixture. Now how do we prove that alpha form has changed into beta or equilibrium mixture has been attained? This is proved simply by optical rotation of the light. Now if the solution only have alpha form, then the optical rotation of the light is around 112.2 degree. And if the solution only have beta form, then the optical rotation is plus 18.7 degree. But an equilibrium mixture would have an optical rotation of plus 52.7 degree. So after 12 to 18 hours, when we check the optical rotation, it comes out to be 52.7 degree. That proves that this is an equilibrium mixture between the two different anomers of glucose. So what is mutarotation? It is the change in the specific optical rotation which represents the interconversion of alpha and beta forms of D-glucose to an equilibrium mixture. Now, but what is the composition of this equilibrium mixture? Let's discuss about the composition. Now, the equilibrium mixture is composed of 63% of beta anomer. So, the 63% of the glucose molecules are present in the beta form, 36% are present in the form of alpha form, and only 1% are present in the linear form, that is the Fischer form that we studied for glucose. So this is the basic concept of mutarotation. So let's finish this video with a question, and I would request you to go through this question properly and give us the answer in the comment section. I'll explain you the question once. In a clinical laboratory, a technician prepared a fresh solution of glucose. See, this is a fresh glucose solution. And then she compared this solution with the solution that was prepared 1 week ago. So this is the solution that was prepared 1 week ago. Now what she did, she calculated the strength of the glucose by a method called as glucose oxidase method. The method is glucose oxidase method. So when she found out the strength of this glucose, she surprisingly got the result that the strength of this glucose is 1/10 of the strength of the glucose that was prepared around a week back. 1/10 of the glucose solution that was prepared a week back, but this is a fresh solution. So how could the strength becomes 1/10 of the solution that was prepared a week back? So what she did, she approached her boss and asked him for help. What he did, he asked her to keep this solution in the fridge for overnight, and after, let's say, 20 hours after keeping it overnight, she again calculated the strength, and this time the strength of both of them were equal. So you have to tell me, how is this possible? Can you explain this dilemma? That's it. Thanks a lot for watching us. Stay connected with us for more such interesting videos. Stay connected with us for the solution to this question that I'll be uploading soon. Thanks a lot for watching us.